This is Talk It Over, the only dating relationship podcast that begins in bed. Make the time to subscribe. Now let's pull back those sheets.
Can we talk about the relationships? Can we talk it over, see how we can build? Only you and I know that's the way it goes. In this big old bed, they'll talk it over, so talk it over. Can we talk it over? We can talk it over. Can we talk it over in bed? Talk it over. Can we talk it over? Can we talk it over? Oh, in bed.
Yo, it's your man Big O back for another episode of Talk It Over, the only dating relationship podcast that begins in bed. And I am joined by my lovely co-host and guest co-host today. We got a nice panel. Trish, how are you today?
I am fantastic.
Welcome back.
Well, I know y'all missed me last week, didn't y'all?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it's never a party without me.
It is not. So how's the weather where you are right now? Because we got nothing but snow flurries happening here in the city.
Same thing, in Buffalo. I mean, we had a snowstorm yesterday. I was driving down a highway and literally drove into it, which was interesting. Roads were clear and then they weren't. So I've been in the house for like 2 days, a little bit of cabin fever because y'all know I like to hit the road. But yeah, it's been cool. Snuggled up and watched movies at home and popcorn.
That ain't all that happened. I heard you got another life story to share with us. We don't have to get into it right now, but we're gonna definitely come back on that.
We will come back on that. We're gonna save that for another show.
Another story into the catalog of Tricia's dating diaries. I love it. All right. So hey, while we talking, tell our listeners about what you got going on with the Love Corner.
Oh, so we have been getting a plethora of submissions from you guys from the Love Corner. Our pleasure coach, Jen, and I have been going through the questions. We've got some good stuff for y'all. So we're not airing for another week or so stay tuned for those questions coming. If you have any submissions, feel free to send them to talkitover.show. You can DM us directly on Instagram, or you can email us talkitover.show.
All right, and just for the people who may be hearing this for the first time, the Love Corner is an expansion of Talk It Over, where you and our resident love coach, Jen, are going to be taking direct questions from the listeners and the audience in anything sex relationship related that they maybe have questions or struggling about, right?
Yep, absolutely. So, and nothing's necessarily off limit. So feel free to bring us all of your questions and we'll do our best to answer them.
Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and bring in that voice, Mr. Brother Leon.
What's up?
How are you today, man?
I'm well.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you in here, have you in my corner, bro.
So, hey, man, it's always a pleasure to be here. I always tell Nas, when life happens, you got to do your best to, respond to it. But I'm trying to make the time and be present for you guys. I want to be a little bit more consistent, and so hopefully that can pan out in the next month or so. But
appreciate it.
We take everything a day at a time.
Absolutely. That's all you can do, especially with the way the state of the world as it is now.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me go ahead and bring in the other guests that I have today with me, Miss Jen Infantino. How are you today?
Hello, I'm so good. I have a hot tub at my house now.
What? Yeah, we all going to your house now. Yeah, everybody's going to Jen's house.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk it over in the hot tub.
Next taping will be Talk It Over Hot Tub Edition.
Hot tub edition
at Jen's house. Get the mics ready.
Hot tub edition. Hot tub.
Get the candles. Get the oils. We're gonna get the ambiance. We're gonna all be in the. How big is this hot tub? Can it fit everybody?
Big enough for us?
It could fit everyone. I didn't want anyone to feel like they had to sit outside the hot tub and watch it in the hot tub. So it's like
that's why we have
that. Is awesome. Awesome. We're gonna circle up.
You think about these things. That's important.
All right. So let me go ahead and bring in Najami. Najami, how are you today? Welcome back. So glad to have you with us again. Najami, you're still on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
I said, hi, everyone. How you loving?
Doing good. You gonna
Doing well.
join us with the hot tub at Jen's?
Hell yes, darling.
Exactly.
Wine
We're gonna
with
get
wine or Morby and rum. Yeah, sure.
we're gonna get to talk it over road trip. And floating back in the background, he may pop in here to drop his 2 cents, which is always welcome. Hassan is with us as well. So if he gets free, he can definitely come on and share with us his views on the topic as well. So Trish,
Yes.
do you have the feel good story for us today?
Absolutely. You know, I'm always queued up and ready.
Let's do it.
All right. So this feel good story comes out of Chicago, Illinois.
Chi-town.
Chi-town, yeah.
Chirac.
Hold on, Leo, aren't you in Leon? Jesus, I called you.
Yeah,
Leo.
it's all right. It's okay. Don't ever, but it's cool.
Let her know, Leon. Let her know.
I'm
That's
in Brooklyn.
Chi-town Don. That's in Chicago.
That's not me.
Come on, his name is in.
Listen.
Chi-town is in his name.
Let's just stop the recording right now.
No, let's go ahead and continue. We got listeners.
I know.
Chi-town is in his name, and she said, "Leon, aren't you from Chi-town?"
Oh, man.
I got you, Leon. It's all right. Leon, it's me and you today. It's me and you today. I got you back, brother. Let's get this feel good story out the way.
All right. So anyhow, the story today comes from Chi-town, and it's about a UPS mail carrier who had an elderly customer that hadn't picked up her mail in like 3 days. The UPS carrier who always greets this customer every day on her route, you know, they have like a really good relationship. Knew that, you know, there's something was wrong. She automatically felt something was wrong in her spirit. So she called the local authorities to go and pay a wellness visit. When the authorities got there, they found that they entered the home and they found the elderly lady laying on the floor from a fall. And she had been on the floor for several days. They admitted her to the hospital. She's now doing much, much better. But the woman basically was, she's very thankful that her mail carrier or her postal worker noticed that for several days she wasn't collecting her mail. She wasn't around and she wasn't noticeable. And it kind of speaks to the fact that we have so many elderly individuals in our neighborhoods and our communities that live by themselves, who sometimes don't have someone that can check on them. And here you had this lady who, the complete stranger pretty much, you know, just noticed her presence wasn't there and was worried enough to send the authorities. So I love this story. I think it's a really
nice.
Beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Touched my heart.
Before I'm gonna do something different, take a different route real quick. Before we get into the topic, I just wanted to highlight something that our producer K.I. shared that touched him very deeply, and it's a personal note. So he was out, you know, looking for, you know, good news. And he found an actual GoFundMe campaign for a young man named Jordan Gibson, no relation. Jordan Gibson, he recently moved into an apartment about a month ago, and he's been working, you know, 3 or 4 jobs at a time to pay for like rent, pay for groceries. And so one of these jobs, he actually took on an additional task for his mom one day, delivering for Postmates. His mom, for whatever reason, just couldn't make her delivery that day. So he took it upon himself, on top of the additional jobs that he's already working, to go and take out, do her job for that day. Unfortunately, on one of his delivery drops, he was accosted by this elderly woman. We don't know her name. We'll just call her Karen, as you know, we have another Karen attack. And he video recorded, and everybody was just very complimentary of how well he handled himself after the relentless verbal abuse that this lady was throwing at him, because it never came to physical. But the lady just would not let him in the building, would not let him complete his delivery order, went so far as to interrupt him trying to talk to the customer through the intercom, letting the customer know, hey, I'm down here with your delivery, but there's a Karen who is refusing to let me into the building. Anyway, the GoFundMe campaign was started by his girlfriend to help out with the finances that, you know, comes with the cost of living. And they set a goal of 10,000, and right now they've hit 452 donors. It's been shared 257 times, and they are roughly about $630 away from meeting their goal. So, when bigots and racism rears its ugly head, right now, one of the weapons that we have is recording it.
Yeah.
And out of that encounter, he is being financially gifted from the kindness of other strangers. So we just wanted to highlight that out there. Jordan, tell him, keep his head up. Don't let the hatred get to you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's what's up.
so I just wanted to bring that in and also as well.
For a second, I thought you were going to say $400-something thousand. I'm like, yo, that's
400.
wild.
No. That would be something crap. For that kind of money, I'm gonna go deliver for Postmates. I'm looking for the bigots. Like, hey, anybody out here?
Like,
I'm looking for the card carriers. So Trish, we ready? Are you ready to bring in the topic of the day? Get this ball rolling?
Absolutely. Okay. So today's topic. So we talked about recently love languages.
We did.
And we talked about, does your love language need to be compatible? So today's conversation is about your sex language, which also.
Excuse you?
You heard me.
What language?
A sex language.
Oh, wait. Hold on. There's another language. This is different from love language.
This is different from love languages.
Oh no, I'm done. I'm out. This is all you. I'm out of here. I'm out of this conversation. It's too many. It's too many. First, I get chocolates, and you don't like them because it's the wrong love language. Then we gotta figure out how to. I don't even remember your love language. Now you telling me there's another language, Leon. It's all you, buddy. I'll come in.
I'm just here for the comments.
Break this down for me, Trish. Break this down.
Okay, so
what is a sex language? I thought there was only. All right, I'm gonna let you talk. Go ahead.
Okay, so a sex language is basically how you like to be treated when it comes to sex. So the different styles in which you enjoy sex.
With a woman?
Huh?
I said with a woman?
With a woman. Well, with what?
Whoever. Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah,
but it's with another person, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, because you can't. Okay. So how many languages are there out there?
There are 5, and of the 5, I'm just gonna kind of give you the 5 of them, and then I'll break them all down.
Okay.
The first one is fun. The sex one. You see where my head is, right?
Yeah, you sure do.
One. The second one is desire. The third is pleasure. The fourth is patience, and the fifth is acceptance and celebration. And we can break these all down, but you know what? Should I break them down, or do you guys just want to jump right into talking about sex languages?
Break it down.
Break it down. Okay. So the first one is fun, and this is whose pleasure is accentuated when you mix fun and sex. So this person is going to enjoy spontaneity, various locations, and creativity during all phases of sex. Okay.
Food fighting.
Hey, listen.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding the correct language here. So when somebody comes out to me and tells me I'm not speaking their sex language, I'm like, well, which one is it?
Right.
So
because I'm fun.
You're
right. I thought I was. Go ahead.
Okay, so there's fun, all right, which is spontaneity, like various locations, creativity during sex. Then there's desire. So desire is a person's sexuality is heightened if they feel pursued or wanted. So they love planning their sexual time and their encounters, and their pleasure is really you wanting them sexually. Okay, so that's desire. The third is pleasure, and this love language is the person, your partner, will want to learn how to please you. So they will want to experiment as to what gives you the most pleasure during a sex act. They're exploring, and being explored takes sex to another level for this person. Okay. And then 4 is patience, which, I mean, that says it all. Basically slow it down, take your time. Learn a lot of the mantras around sex. This person is going to enjoy massages and gentleness before, during, and after sex. And then the last one is acceptance or celebration. So this person whose sex language is acceptance or celebration, wants you to know that they accept you and they celebrate all that you are. So during every phase of sex, they want you to appreciate all that they are to you, not just their body or sexually. So being valued during makes sex more satisfying for this person. So this person to me sounds more of a talker, someone that is like, you know, tell me the reasons why you love
communication.
me, appreciate me. Yeah. So, but during so
talker during sex.
So there's 5. All right, so there's 5 love languages and there's 5 sex languages. So now there's a 25 combination possibility. You know what, Jen, where's Jen? Let's get Jen in here. I don't have the time to be going. It's more. I got my math wrong. It's more. It's 5 to the power of 5.
Yeah, it's more different combinations.
I'm gonna come back with that number. Jen, help us out.
You gotta do 5 exclamation point 5 on the calculator.
Okay. Thank you, Leon.
A lot of times people say like, oh, you know, we got into a rut. We're kind of doing the same thing all the time. I think the 5 sex languages give you other options. So if you're always in this like emotional connection, this like slow, I love you connection, maybe change it up and see how it can be more fun and lighthearted and maybe spend 2 days flirting. And so I think that this is not so much like, this is the only way. I'm always the number 4 of the sex languages, but I think this is like a good template to try other things because people get bored.
You know, it's funny you said that, Jen, because when I first saw the topic, I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting one. And I thought to myself about the love languages and how even with the love languages, no one is one particular thing. Right. It's all like a continuum, if you really think about it. Right. And so like even with the 5 sex languages, like, OK, yeah, I like to be a little fun, but I also like to be desired. Right. You know, I don't know about that patience part, but, you know, I'm working on it. I'm getting older. So, you know, I'm having a little time, taking time. And that's cool. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a sliding scale.
Out of the 625 combinations,
there you go.
Yep. Out of the 625 combinations, what you're saying is it could see that's too many numbers, man. That's too many makeups for me.
It's too many variables, is what that is.
It is. So Trish, or no, let's get Najami in.
Najami, I was just gonna say, let's see what Najami has to say real quick.
So this topic had me go and pull out my big Bible.
Oh boy.
Oh,
I didn't know where that was going.
The Kama Sutra.
Oh, the Kama Sutra. Okay, I thought you was about to.
The Kama Sutra was my Bible when I was a young lady. Okay.
How many combinations are in that one?
I'm still young.
You are a young lady, girl. You better stay.
How many combinations in the Kama Sutra?
I just corrected myself. So it's so interesting about the sex. The Kama Sutra talks about the combination or the uncoupling of people whose sex language do not match, right? So there's something that says here, when their sexual drive is similar, a couple is well matched. If their speed is not the same, enjoyment is not perfect. So if there's a difference in the capacity for enjoyment between man and woman, there can be no true satisfaction in love. This is why the organs must be matched and the moments of enjoyment and ejaculation correspond. Otherwise, copulation is animal. However, many authors doubt that is possible for the woman to reach orgasm at the same time as the man. So they're just talking about the different sizes of men and understanding the sex language as well, that makes it really hot in the boudoir or not.
Where does blow-up dolls fall in this, Trish? Trish, where do blow-up dolls fall in that 5 category?
That would be like fun.
That's a fun. That's a fun.
That would be fun.
Okay. All right.
Like,
comment.
That's not an acceptance one. Like you gotta accept me for everything. Like it's me, you, and my doll right here. Like all 3 of us.
So I think that actually speaks more to your open-mindedness.
Acceptance.
Someone that's more conservative and they're not adventurous. You can't expect them to just immediately jump into that fun sex language and be adventurous and outgoing and spontaneous. You know, we again, we always talk about this, and we always say that communication is key and learning who you're dealing with. You know, this brings me, this whole conversation brings me to the fact that I have a friend of mine came to me and was saying, you know, like, hey, I've been married for several years. The fun has kind of left the relationship, and my wife is very conservative. And they've been together for 10 years. He's adventurous, she's conservative, and she's never broken out of that conservativeness. And, you know, now they're like, okay, well, how do we improve? How do we keep our sex life fun and active and exciting? And, you know, I actually sent him a text and was like, well, listen, you know, there's such thing called sex languages when I started researching this. And I challenged him and his wife to sit down and talk about what their style is, what their language is, and what speaks better to them. And he came back and said, you know, she's patient and he is fun. And he doesn't see patience. Like, he doesn't want to have patient sex. He doesn't want it to be slow. And, you know, he just wants
right.
He loves her. He thinks she's amazing. So he just wants to jump right in. But for her, that just does not work. Even Jen and I were talking that women's bodies are much different than men. So sometimes it takes us a lot longer to get warmed up and ready to.
Yeah, don't say.
Yes. So it really is, I feel like, a mental, I don't even want to use the word game, but that's what we're going to use. It's like a mental game that you're playing where you have to excite me and you have to get me ready to be in that moment. So for me, if that means desire, if that means we got to go out and role play in a restaurant and you pretend like you don't know me, here we go back with this restaurant nonsense. Anyhow, if you pretend.
hey, Jen.
Hold on.
Chris, guess what?
So you all, Trish, you all five. Hold on. Don't give away too much. You all five.
I'm not. We'll save that story for another day. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all just gotta wait. It's a good story too. Anyhow, but like, if we have to go out and I pretend that you don't know me, and then we, you know, end up making.
So that's fun. Okay.
We end up making out, and, you know, just like as a thing.
Bathroom stall.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean, in the bathroom stall.
That's fun.
A sex language. That is something that we need to work on.
But what you're saying is, but you have to know your partners, because not everybody's going to be up for that. So whereas you might say like, oh, I'm up for the fun part, the going out, dressing up, pretending to not know one another, your partner may be the more
conservative.
Well, that wasn't a language. So patience, right?
I know.
Where they're like, oh, I need you. What does patience even mean? Like, patience, you just want them to treat you slowly, or patience can be a build-up. It can be a slow build-up.
I think patience is about seduction.
Okay, so that's more like a slow build-up. So patience could necessarily be like, I'm seducing you from the time you wake up by like running your bath water, fixing your favorite breakfast, straightening up the house,
putting the right amount of creamer in your coffee.
Right.
Yo, there's a little thing.
There's nothing sexy about what you just said, okay?
No, but I think a combination. I think we are a combination of all of those. I mean, I believe when you meet someone,
625 combinations.
No, these conversations need to be had, because I can be in a moment where I can be in a fun mood, and next minute I may be in a pleasure mood, where I want a slow buildup. Like, I want to send me some roses, send me some flower.
Like I said, it's a sliding scale. You don't just fit into one category.
I think we intermingle between that. You know, I think somebody's not always spontaneous. Spontaneous to me is fun. I mean, shit, the bathroom in the fucking airplane. So the restaurant.
Here's what I'm gonna throw at you real quick.
High Club, the GB? My High Club?
I'm gonna throw this at Najami and Leon as well. So both of you agree that, you know, like you said, we're all combinations of one of those or many of those 625 possibilities, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna stay on that number. Y'all going in. So here's my question, because this is where it gets tricky for me and where I see it. So, all right, let's say, you know, I'm talking your sex language, the fun or the patience or the desire, whichever one it is. But in that, I'm doing it in the opposite way of the love language that you respond
you respond to.
Yeah. So let's say, oh, I'm fun, I'm spontaneous, I'm taking her out to go buy lingerie or buy clothes or buy stuff. And the
But she
person's
doesn't
like,
like gifts.
she doesn't like gifts.
Right.
Right. Or it's like, oh, I'm desiring, I'm patient. No, I'm desiring, I'm physical touch. I'm just showing you how much I really, really want you.
But she wants
And
quality
then,
time.
or she want communication.
Communication.
Like,
Right.
yeah, like that's where I'm feeling like, oh, this is a trick. This, this is the problem because 625 is too many combinations for me to work with. All right, just give me. I was good with the love languages. That's where I was like, all right, I can handle that. That's only 5. I got to get good at 5 things.
Mm.
And now you're throwing in another 5.
Mm-hmm. What?
Look at him, Leon. They just like, yes, and they're not feeling my pain, Leon. They're like, go on.
Meanwhile, they're sitting at the first dates with like a piece of paper, just checking off boxes. Okay.
Trying to figure out the matrix. Like, all right, so you said that last Valentine's, your ex brought you chocolates, and that was not all right. So she does not like gifts. So we take that off again.
Take that off the list. Okay, cool.
But again, so there's no quiz for this. There's no quiz that says this is my sex language. And as Najami and Jennifer have said, you can be all of these at some different at one different point, in a day. You know what I mean? So I really do think it's about communication and really and being observant. So, having the conversations with your partner that says, all right, well, not, like this is what I like. And we have these conversations early on in relationships where you sit down and say, this is what I like. I like this type of, this gets me in the mood,
Leon, what are your thoughts? You don't think that's giving away the blueprint? Like if you just tell me what you like, I'm gonna just do that. I mean, that's case solved.
What are you saying? Like what she's saying isn't the way to go, or
no, I don't think it's one or the other. I'm just asking. I'm just asking because what Trish is saying is we're going to have those conversations, which is part of talking it over. That's the whole point. Yeah. But my thought process is I'm like,
I was nice.
I don't have to figure everything out. I don't have to figure it out. And
you want to go ahead? Well, all I was going to say to answer your question, was that I think the sex is just another part of your relationship with your partner, and I think what happens is we oftentimes get so caught up in like, if you think about what the word itself elicits, when you hear the word sex and the feelings and thoughts around it, there's just these ideas and notions where it's like, well, sex isn't just like penetration. Sex isn't just like you have the physical act of it, but like right. But like, what if you are, same sex and you're 2 women, or I'm saying 2 men? The way you interact is going to be a little different, right? And so how you choose to be pleasured is going to be learned between the 2, your partner, the person you're dealing with. And so I think when we think about like what somebody's sex language is, like, it's just like any other thing. You have to take the time to get to know it, right? You can kind of learn too, like the way somebody is naturally, it kind of spills into how they are in, as Najami says, the boudoir, right? Like, I think,
Okay, Najami, before we go to break, did you want to piggyback on that? Say anything real quickly?
Yeah. Okay. So when I have conversations with men, and I know I ask questions. I like to ask questions. And if I find that you have a particular, let's say, act in the boudoir that you enjoy, that gives you pleasure, and I'm uncomfortable with that, then I know I'm not going to be a good match for you, because there are certain lines that I am not crossing.
So the doll, you wouldn't like the doll?
Huh?
So if I bring the doll in, that's a
shut up with you and this dog,
talking about this dog.
Trish, I was just like, we about to go to the apartment and just rate it. Like,
hey, listen, I am speaking on behalf of the doll community out there. Y'all said acceptance. Talk it over. Everything is safe, and talk it over. How you gonna handle it when they come with the love corner connection? That might be a question you get. So you're gonna have to. You shaming me? Like, hey, you can't
Olin,
Yo,
Olin, the
Trish,
doll
Olin
is
was-
invited to the hot tub.
I just want to look and see. Go ahead.
See, no, Jen just told me the doll is accepted in the hot tub. So with that, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsors. I'm gonna go let the doll know that she's invited to the hot tub, and then
She's sitting next
and
to
we're
me.
gonna come in. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back.
I want to see her expression.
All right.
I think I have an idea what it looks like.
We're gonna come back after this quick break.
Want a wildly satisfying life? Increase your PQ, your pleasure intelligence. I help vulva-bodied people turn on their turn-on and transform their lives. You can find me at juicygen.com. That's JUICYGENN.com. You are listening to Talk It Over, the only dating relationship podcast that begins in bed.
Y'all are too funny. Oh my God.
All right, and we are back, and we got a hot one today. It's confusing to me, but to everybody else on this panel, right? Everybody else is getting it, but me. The math is just too much right now. But Trish, let our listeners know what is happening. What's the topic? What's going on? And break it down again for me. I'm sure the listeners got it, but break it down. Break it down for me.
Absolutely. Okay.
Najami, you okay?
Yeah, word. I was about to ask.
All right.
All right.
That's
So
some
2
water.
weeks ago, we talked about love languages. This week, we're talking about sex languages and do they have to match?
Brown chicken, brown cow.
And so right now, let's see. So the 5 sex languages, because there are 5, just like there are 5 love languages.
Yo, sex has really been on your mind. I don't
Listen,
know.
because I'm not getting any, okay?
Whoa. Hey.
It's gonna be a lot of things happening in the love corner. I can't wait. I'm gonna listen to every broadcast.
Me too.
Listen, feel free, join us.
Okay.
I'll let you guys know next week when they will start airing, but because we're working on a
Don't invite me because I have no behavior. You know this. Come on.
I know
All right.
this.
Let's get through the 5. Let's get through the 5 sex languages.
Okay, so the first
Fun.
fun is a person enjoys spontaneity, like various locations and creativity during all phases of sex. Is desire. This person feel pursued and wanted.
Okay.
The third is pleasure.
Okay.
Person wants to experiment as to what gives them the most pleasure during sex.
Okay.
Being explored and exploring takes things to a different level. 4 is pace. This person wants you to take your time and slow it down. This person enjoys massages and gentleness before, during, and after sex. And the last is acceptance and celebration. This person wants you to tell them how much they mean to you, how much that you love them, and accept them and celebrate all that they are. So those are sex languages.
All right, I got a question about that. So Jen, I want to ask Jen, what can someone do if they realize that their sex languages are not compatible? Before we went on break, Najami spoke about how, when you meet someone, you're investigating, you're learning. And for her, if she learns that there's a chance of being incompatible, maybe they ask something that she's not comfortable with or just beyond the scope of her boundaries, then she just knows immediately, which I think, everyone should have a safe and healthy awareness of their boundaries. But what is something someone can do if they realize, like, hey, we're just not clicking sexually, and I want to be able to please you, but I don't know your language?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between a fundamental part of someone's sex life and different ways they like to play. Some things are just like really
hard line.
Their identification, somebody might be submissive to the core. And if you don't always want to play where you're the dominant person, that's just not going to be a good fit. But someone who occasionally likes to be submissive, that might be just fine for you. So I think it's like how does the doll need to be part of every interaction?
For Olin, it does, yes.
You don't have to be part, but you got to witness testimony.
Yo, you are wild, boy.
But I think Tricia.
Did you see that?
I've been practicing. I've been waiting on that one all week.
Lord.
Tricia mentioned being open-minded. I think that's so important because unless you've tried everything, The person you're meeting is bringing something new that maybe you haven't been exposed to before, and it might be totally your thing, and you just
haven't had a chance.
I don't believe in holding on to these ideas too tightly.
Right.
Because who knows? Like maybe you just haven't been exposed to something really amazing before.
So what happens? Well, I guess along.
Sorry, Najami had a comment.
We all have certain boundaries or areas, lines where we don't cross. Now, if I'm in a relationship, a love ship with a man, and we are connected, we are together, there becomes a certain level where you feel comfortable to be vulnerable. I am not saying that I may not try certain things because I want to also please my partner. I'm a very pleasure person too, but also very patient as well. So, but if you know that this is the person go-to way of really having erotic desire and sensuality, and that is something that you know that you are not going to do. And let me give an example, like rimming or anal sex, okay? If you know that's something you're very uncomfortable with, and you know this is going to be a stick in the mud in their love ship, the person's going to look for it outside because that is really what really turns them on, okay? So you got to be, and also looking at it from that perspective, understand that.
Okay.
All right. I think that's very fundamental.
Leon, we're gonna have to sit on opposite sides of the hot tub because I can't be drowning laughing at you. So here's what I want to ask, and this is open to anyone, and it kind of goes along with what Jen was saying. Has anyone experienced basically what Jen was saying, where it's just like, I didn't know that I enjoyed this until it was tried or exposed? Does anyone have any?
Yeah, Trish, go ahead.
I know Trish got stories. Trish got stories for days. Let's go, Trish.
As soon as you said that, the grin, she let the grin.
I know, right? She was like, huh? I didn't know I liked all five, and then I had all five.
Listen, I'm not gonna further incriminate myself.
This is a safe space, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you know, people think I'm like, where's Tricia at? Let me go find her.
Like she did say it's been a minute,
Tricia stays on the go, so y'all let it catch up.
Does what she does when she does it.
I love y'all. I do. So I will say this. I will say this. I experimented a lot with a lot of these different things. I, would do things spontaneously to my partner or invite my partner at the time. I dated one guy throughout college. I would invite him different places and just in my head do things to him because I knew what I wanted and I wanted us to have this great experience. We were kids, we were young, it was great. And for the most part, 90% of the time he went along with it. But I also know that we had a really strong connection. Like we had a really, really, really good, strong connection. So there were a few times where yes, he was hesitant, but
so when you pull out the strap on, right?
Everything that I did.
Oh my God.
That I did.
He was like, nah.
Let me take that back.
He's like,
oh my God.
Let me make it.
She said it's like 90%, so 10% of that time.
Leon's not gonna be on after us for a while. We're gonna have to.
He was resistant, and I understood, and I never pushed him beyond his boundaries because somebody feels so uncomfortable.
So have you in that experimentation, and I'll open it up, have you, because this has happened to me, a handful of times where, that experimentation, but there's the flip side of that coin, right? Where it's like, oh, you didn't know you like this, but then there's also, you didn't know you really didn't like this, right? They try something, you're like, oh, whoa. Hey, hold on, I didn't sign up for this. Like, you got another one. Okay, here we go.
One thing that I don't like, I'm not a patient person when it comes to sex. Like I've had people like rub me down and massage me. That doesn't work for me. It feels more annoying in my spirit. So that never
in her spirit.
You heard that, Leon? Just said in her spirit, it's annoying. So I can't. So don't Trish don't like chocolates, and she ain't got the patience. All right, so don't come in here buying gifts. Don't come in here with no teddy bears. You better
Something
just
else.
drop them. As soon as you walk in the door, just drop them.
Hey,
Drop them and have a note in your hand that said, "I've got this all day. I wrote out what I'm about to do. Do you read this?"
There is a lid for every pot. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
But see, that goes my point. Go ahead, Jen.
I have a pretty juicy example, actually, of this.
Yes, let's hear it.
Go ahead, Jen.
We need to hear all 625 combinations because this is.
I've been out on a date with this guy. We went out on a couple of dates. There was a lot I really liked about him, but we probably weren't a good romantic match. But he told me that he had a lot of responsibility in his life.
Okay.
From like a young age, he had a lot of responsibility. He took care of his family, managed a lot of people at work. He was like pretty, had achieved a lot and was an adult from a young age. And he was, and that turned into a kink for him. So he ended up being like really, really submissive sexually.
Yeah.
And he was afraid to share that with me because he had gotten bad reactions back from women. He was heterosexual. He had gotten bad reactions back from women. And he would share that. So he shared it with me. And I was like, I don't feel bad or good about that. That's not something I've really explored with someone before. And so
out came the whips and the chains and the paddle.
I was gonna say,
and out came the dog collar.
Them
I know this is
stilettos on his chest.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of psychological stuff. Like it was like, I can tell you, so it blew my mind. We dated for quite some time actually. And what I learned, he really loved to be bossed around. And he really loved for me to like ask for exactly what I wanted. This is a
open the door.
This
Pay the bill.
story. And I mean, like I would anyway. It was.
So did you learn from that you like to be in positions of power? Was that one of the ones where you're like, oh, I like this, I enjoy it?
I learned I was really good at it.
Wow.
Okay. Like Thanos after the sixth stone, he put the sixth.
Right.
He was like, oh.
Right.
The biggest thing I learned, and this was like maybe the biggest, like, kind of like really gave me a lot to think about. He really liked for me to like send him all over town, getting things ready. I would like really, I mean, he really loved this. And I realized in that relationship that I hadn't been asking for what I wanted. Because when there was no restriction, when like the more annoying and inconvenient the request was, or he liked it, I realized like, oh my gosh, you know what I really want? There's a drink I love.
Jen was like, the power. She was power tripping.
Yo, she snapped her fingers. That's what she is inevitable.
It was actually amazing. It was.
Oh my God. I get it. I would imagine so. Like that's such a, because you now have not complete, but it is a control thing, but it was two consenting adults in that dynamic. And that's very important, is that it was submission with permission. Right.
And also he was not there was nothing broken around him. There was nothing detrimental or trauma related.
Yeah. It didn't make you feel like what you were sharing was perverted.
No, I didn't
or
feel
abusive.
like harm.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So when we meet people who have certain likes, right, and no judgment there, because I met a man who was into subservient behavior. Now, I didn't open that Pandora box because I believe that, for me personally, if I dwell into certain realms, I have an addictive personality, so I think we all do. So therefore, if I dwell into certain realms and I really like it, then the next person to catch really gonna be in a problem, because I'm gonna get bored and I will want to introduce other shit in the game. Okay, so
that has happened to me.
Oh,
yeah, where you like it went from one end of the spectrum to the complete opposite, where like when I was seeing someone and when we first Yeah. What I was saying was,
Did it happen to you?
yeah. I was like, it went from one end of the spectrum to the other almost. When I was seeing someone and um, when at the point we started becoming intimate, my fear was, I was like, I don't know if I can keep up with this person. I was like the frequency and the amount. I was just like, wow, I'm really afraid. This is the first time that it ever happened to me. Where I was like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. Like the I guess the libido was a lot higher than what I was expecting. But then I realized like I kind of got used to that, right? I got used to that style that I got very comfortable because I was like, it's not, there's nothing really for me to have to necessarily
work for,
right? Or work for, or do. It's like I was the one worried about not being able to keep up with her.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did that ever lead to like feelings of resentment? Like you felt like you were just punching the clock?
No, not at all. Because I was actually surprised at myself. I was like, okay, all right, I actually still got it. But then, for other reasons, and then the next person, and that had become my norm. And so now that, I'm entering a new relationship, and I'm just thinking like, oh, this is going to go like the last one, just with a different person. And it wasn't night and day, but the drop off became really, really difficult for me to
night and afternoon. Hey, wait a minute.
Like the drop off was really something that I struggled with, and that was something that I kind of started having to overcome and realize like, oh wait, everybody has their own speed, everybody has their own thing.
Yeah,
and
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's so important though to have somebody who does match that in you, as far as that drive goes, that desire, because like you could be with somebody, and let's say you were a little bit more like you had like a higher libido. If they didn't match yours, would then feel like all you felt was that y'all had between y'all was sex, and almost kind of would devalue it. Because I have experienced that in the past, where my former partner made me feel like I was just some horn dog, and I'm just like, hey, wait a minute, what are you talking about? This is we supposed to do this, like you know. And then you can get with somebody who's like, this is what I want, this is what's up, and they're exactly right where you are. So I think it's so important,
All right, so final thoughts, Jen, and then Najami, I want to get your final thoughts as well.
My final thoughts are be open to what someone is bringing that's new. And I do think if there's a fundamental, and other people have said this, if there's a fundamental difference between people, it's very challenging to make it work. So if it's a new relationship and you identify a real difference, it might be worth reconsidering if it's a good match.
All right, Najami, you want to?
Well, I see Hassan is on. I would love to get Hassan's input on this, but my take is you have to be really cognizant of your sex language and your love language, and you need to really trust your intuition, your bushwoman or bushman intuition when things are not a good fit, right? And also too, as again, I am into the Kama Sutra, and I do believe in understanding the different aspects of love and sex languages, and also the compatibility of the male and female organs that make it more so too.
Now, are you still involved in the sex and wellness coaching aspect, Najami?
Yes and no. I'm not co-hosting the show with my former partner anymore. It was called the Bushes Swelling Show, the sexual wellness show. But when I do come on with the Talk It Over brand, I will be having conversations with Bushwoman. So there will be conversations about sex. Yes, definitely. And potions to keep the boy or the libido high. Because honey, if you was my man, it's like my libido was high and you couldn't keep up with me, I would be giving you things to eat and to drink to keep that up.
He's spiking my breakfast. He's spiking my
I have done it to many.
No wonder I can't get to sleep.
honey. I've done it to men.
Honey,
You know.
drink this.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you got
All right,
to say?
Trish, you wanna
Drink this,
take
baby.
us out? You wanna take us out? All I know is if I start seeing potions and my drinks start tasting funny around here.
No, it will taste
You
good. It
wouldn't
will
even
taste
know.
good. Trust me, you're gonna like it. You will like it.
I mean, of course it'll taste good. That's the whole point.
Right.
Hello, understand?
It's not
Trish.
gone down for 5 hours. We have a problem, madam.
Trish, take us out.
I love this show today. I hope the audience, everyone listening, has loved this show as much as I love this show today. You know, we come on here, we talk about a lot of serious things, and then we talk about things like sex languages. At the bottom of it all, I think it's all about communication and being aware and in tune with your partner. You know, I tell everyone to sit down and have those deep conversations, those intimate conversations, and get to learn the person that you really want to be with. There's a couple of books that I'm currently reading that I would suggest if you have a moment to look at. One is Come As You Are.
Okay.
I don't have the author right in front of me. The other one is The Woman's Anatomy of Arousal.
Okay.
I'm reading both of those now. So men and women, I encourage, if you have a few moments, read those books, pick up the Kama Sutra. It'll tell you a lot about love languages, sex languages, how to keep that excitement into your relationship, as well as the anatomy of how all of this works.
Nice. Awesome. And again, you can find us at talkitover.show on both Instagram and on the web. Again, we're the only dating relationship podcast that begins in bed, and be on the lookout for the Love Corner and Bush Woman coming soon.
The bush is swelling.
The bush is swelling.
No, the bush is swelling was the show I was co-hosting.
See, Leon, you can see. This is why, Leon, we gotta space out.
Well, I mean, that wasn't the name of it. All right.
Nah, we'll always have you in. We're always gonna have you in here, Leon. Definitely gotta have you in the corner. Can't wait to see y'all in the hot tub. Slow motion.
You've been listening to Talk It Over, the only dating relationship podcast that begins in bed. We hope you got what you needed. Make sure you subscribe. Holla at you next week.